Most gym advice is correct and still ruins beginners. In 2026, fitness information is everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Reddit threads, podcasts, blogs. A beginner can watch 40 videos in one night. They can save 200 posts. They can screenshot meal plans, workout splits, and technique breakdowns. And then they quit within 6 weeks. This isn't because they're lazy. This isn't because they lack discipline. It's because the modern fitness advice system is designed to keep you searching, not training. The most damaging gym advice is often technically true. It just hits beginners at the wrong time. I'm going to show you why beginners should ignore most advice in 2026. Not because it's wrong, but because it's built for someone else entirely. Let's start with the platform itself. The algorithm needs you watching, not completing. Every day, your feed refreshes with new workout secrets. Stop doing squats this way. Start doing them that way. This exercise is killing your gains. That food is ruining your progress. The advice changes constantly. Here's why. Content platforms reward novelty, not adherence. A video titled, "The Same Simple Plan You Should Keep Doing" doesn't go viral. A video titled, "The One Exercise You're Doing Wrong" does. The business model isn't built around your results. It's built around your attention. If advice worked quickly and you stop searching, the algorithm loses. So fundamentals get repackaged as breaking news. Basic movements get called outdated. Simple plans get labeled incomplete. A beginner saves 40 videos promising transformation. They bookmark splitting strategies, exercise corrections, nutrition hacks. They execute zero plans. Because the feed keeps offering something newer before they finish the last thing. Pattern break question. If advice worked fast, would it still go viral? No, because solved problems don't generate clicks. Optimization advice that assumes you already have the foundation. Let's talk about optimal training advice. Volume landmarks, periodization schemes, intensity prescriptions, RPE scales, RIR calculations. These concepts dominate modern fitness content, and they're meant for intermediates. Optimization assumes a base that beginners don't have yet. It assumes you already know how to feel a muscle working. It assumes you can estimate effort accurately. It assumes you've trained the same movements enough times to need advanced progression. Beginners don't have that foundation. They're still learning to breathe during a set. They're still figuring out if soreness means progress or injury. They're still building the confidence to walk into a gym without feeling watched. Here's the harm. A beginner tries to calculate RIR on their third workout ever. They can't even feel the target muscle yet. They don't know what an 8 out of 10 feels like. So they undershoot out of caution or overshoot out of confusion. Now the training effect is inconsistent. They can't tell if they work hard enough. They add anxiety to a process that should feel simple. Optimization without consistency is just anxiety. Technique nitpicking before movement confidence exists. Modern gym advice treats every exercise like surgery. Never let your knees pass your toes. Never round your back ever. Keep your shoulders packed at all times. Perfect form, or you'll get hurt. This creates a specific type of beginner paralysis. They treat every rep like a performance review. They reset 5 times before starting a set. They freeze, restart, overthink, and never build momentum. Here's what happens next. They attempt to squat. Someone online said their knees are moving wrong. They adjust. Another video said their hips are too high. They adjust again. Now they're standing in front of the rack, terrified to move. Eventually, they walk away embarrassed. Not because they failed the movement, but because the fear of doing it wrong became heavier than the weight itself. What if safe form is learned through repetition, not fear? What if beginners need permission to be awkward for a while? Competence doesn't come from commentary. It comes from reps. Program hopping disguised as learning. Beginners are told to try everything, explore different splits, test new exercises, find what works for your body. This sounds like empowerment. It's actually chaos. Program hopping destroys the one advantage beginners have: rapid progress on basic movements. Here's the mechanism. Progressive overload requires repetition. You squat this week. You squat next week with slightly more weight or reps. That's the signal. That's progress. But if you do a new workout every session, you never repeat movements long enough to improve. You can't beat last week's numbers because you didn't do last week's exercises. A beginner scrolls through workout plans daily. Monday is push-pull legs. Wednesday is upper-lower. Friday is full body. Every session is novel. Every session feels fresh. And nothing ever improves. Because if everything changes, nothing gets measured. The gym becomes a variety show instead of a skill-building process. Nutrition advice that creates immediate burnout. Nutrition content is a battlefield of contradictions. Eat clean only. If it fits your macros, eat anything. Carbs are essential. Carbs are optional. Bulk first. Cut first. Recomp instead. Track every gram. Intuitive eating is better. Every voice sounds confident. Every rule sounds absolute. A beginner tries to synthesize all of it at once. Week 1, they attempt a perfect diet. No sugar, no processed foods. Meal prep for 7 days. Macro tracking, calorie counting. They approach food like a final exam. Day 4, they eat pizza at a family dinner. Now they feel like a failure. They didn't follow the rules. They broke the plan. So they quit the plan entirely. This is a harm. Conflicting food rules create all or nothing thinking. When perfection becomes a standard, one mistake feels like total collapse. What if the real diet is the one you can repeat? What if consistency beats optimization every single time? Buying supplements feels like progress. Beginners don't know what moves the needle yet, so they focus on what's easiest to control. Purchases. Supplement content is everywhere. Pre-workout for energy, protein for growth, creatine for strength, BCAAs for recovery, fat burners for definition. The list never ends. Here's what happens. A beginner buys a stack. They spend money. They feel committed. They feel like they've started. Then they skip workouts anyway, because buying isn't training. Spending is easier than showing up. The supplement industry isn't evil, but it benefits from beginners believing the missing piece is a product, not a habit. Recovery hacks that replace basic recovery. Modern recovery advice has exploded. Cold plunges, red light therapy, elaborate mobility flows, breathwork routines, wearable devices that score your readiness. Beginners adopt these before they've established basic recovery. They don't sleep 8 hours. They don't manage stress. They don't eat enough protein. But they're researching infrared saunas. Here's the trap. Recovery hacks become avoidance tools. A beginner checks their wearable. It says low readiness. So they skip training. They use recovery as permission to not show up. The app said their nervous system needs rest. So they rest for 3 days. Then the habit dies. What if the best recovery hack is 8 hours of sleep? What if most beginners need consistency, not complexity? Fear-based advice creates paralysis. Some gym advice is built entirely on fear. Never do this movement. This exercise destroys shoulders. That lift will ruin your back. Avoid machines. Avoid free weights. Avoid barbells. Avoid dumbbells. Every movement gets a warning label. A beginner starts building a list of banned exercises. They remove squats because of knee fear. They remove deadlifts because of back fear. They remove overhead press because of shoulder fear. Eventually, they're left with nothing. They stand in the gym, surrounded by equipment they've been told is dangerous. So they do nothing. A beginner who's afraid can't build momentum. Most movements can be safe when scaled and learned. Blanket rules terrify beginners into inaction. Chasing 1% improvements while missing 80%. The fitness internet loves debates. Optimal rep ranges, perfect tempo, best exercise selection, ideal training frequency. These conversations happen at the margin. Beginners watch these debates and think they matter now. They argue online about sets per week. They research periodization models. They compare training splits obsessively. Meanwhile, they haven't trained 3 days in a row yet. They're chasing 1% while missing the entire foundation. The big rocks are simple. Train frequently. Lift progressively. Eat enough protein. Sleep consistently. Those 4 variables drive 80% of beginner progress. But simple doesn't get clicks. So beginners spend hours researching micro-optimizations they're not ready to use. Copying pro training breaks beginner recovery. Influencers share their workouts, professional splits, marathon sessions, 2-a-day training, daily challenges. Advanced programs designed for enhanced recovery capacity. Beginners see this and think it's the standard, so they copy it exactly. They do an advanced leg day, 12 exercises, 40 sets, 90 minutes. The next day, they can't walk comfortably. The soreness is overwhelming. They skip the next workout, then the next, then the entire week. The plan didn't fail. The plan was never for them. Advanced volume works for advanced lifters because they've built tolerance. Their bodies adapted over years. Beginners don't have that adaptation yet. Copying someone else's training assumes you have their recovery capacity. You don't. Here's the truth most advice never mentions. Most gym advice is not wrong. It's meant for someone who already survived the beginner phase. It assumes you already have a habit. It assumes you already have technique. It assumes you already have tolerance and patience. Beginners don't need better advice. They need simpler rules they can actually repeat. Let me prove it with a real comparison. Beginner A follows a simple full body plan for 12 weeks. 3 exercises per session, 3 times per week. Same movements every time. They track one variable, weight on the bar. They improve every week. They build confidence. They develop consistency. After 12 weeks, they're stronger and still training. Beginner B chases daily optimal tweaks. Monday is a new split. Wednesday is a corrected technique. Friday is a different rep scheme. Every session is informed by the latest content. After 12 weeks, they've tried everything and completed nothing. They quit because the process felt impossible. Same time frame, different approach. One survived, one didn't. This is the hidden cost of optimization culture. It adds complexity before the foundation exists. Why perfect technique ignores confidence building. Beginners are told they must master form before adding weight. This sounds protective, but it creates a different problem. Perfect technique is a moving target. Every coach has a slightly different cue. Every video shows a slightly different angle. A beginner tries to satisfy all of them at once. Here's what actually builds confidence. Repetition under manageable load. You do the movement. It feels awkward. You do it again. It feels slightly better. You repeat this 50 times. Eventually, the pattern becomes familiar. Your body learns. Confidence grows. Now technique improves naturally. A beginner finally gets comfortable with one lift. They stop changing it. They stop second-guessing every rep. Now progress begins. Consistency teaches form better than analysis does. Why most advice ignores time and energy limits. Fitness content is created by people who have time. Influencers, coaches, athletes. They can train 2 hours daily. They can meal prep elaborately. They can prioritize recovery like a full-time job. Beginners have work, family, stress, limited time, limited energy. They can't copy a lifestyle that requires unlimited bandwidth. But the advice doesn't account for this. It assumes everyone has the same schedule flexibility. So beginners try to fit the influencer routine into their Tuesday evening after work. They attempt the 2-hour session, the elaborate meal prep, the daily cardio, the complex mobility flow. It lasts 3 days. Then they miss 2 workouts. Then they quit entirely because the standard feels impossible to meet. What if the best plan is the one that fits Tuesday? What if sustainability beats intensity? How mindset advice can backfire. Some advice focuses entirely on mindset. If you really wanted it, you do it. No excuses. Just push through. This sounds motivating, but it frames every setback as a character flaw. A beginner misses a workout. Life happened. Work ran late. A family emergency came up. Normal human circumstances. But the mindset advice tells them it's an excuse. If they were serious, they'd have trained anyway. Now they feel ashamed instead of adjusting the plan realistically. Shame doesn't create consistency. It creates avoidance. They ghost the gym because facing it feels like admitting failure. Beginners don't need shame. They need adjustment. They need permission to modify plans when life happens. What beginners should trust instead. Here's a simple filter system that replaces infinite searching. Trust advice that is boring. If it promises fast results, it's selling attention. If it repeats fundamentals, It's selling results. Trust advice that emphasizes consistency over novelty. The best plan is the one you'll actually do 3 times per week for 3 months. Trust advice that scales to your schedule. If it requires 2 hours daily, it's not designed for most people's lives. Trust advice that gives permission to be imperfect. Progress doesn't require perfection. It requires showing up repeatedly with decent effort. A beginner uses this filter. Suddenly the feed becomes less powerful. Contradictions stop mattering. Optimization panic fades. They pick one simple plan. They repeat it. They ignore everything else. Progress appears. What if ignoring advice is the smartest beginner skill? Here's the resolution. The most damaging gym advice is often technically true, but it hits beginners at the wrong time. Intermediate optimization helps intermediates. Advanced programming helps advanced lifters. Beginners need neither. They need a simple structure they can repeat until it becomes normal. The problem isn't that gym advice is wrong in 2026. The problem is that it's everywhere, optimized for engagement and aimed at the wrong person. Beginners don't need more knowledge. They need a path they can survive. That's the difference between information and progress.